Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for your time. Journey to Elections 2023. You're watching Just for the Record. Today, I'm joined by Miss Zoe Walcott, who is an at-large candidate under the Virgin Islands Party umbrella. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
There are many ways to enjoy life, like so many ways to count on popular.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctvvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Hello everyone, welcome back. And as promised, I'm today joined by Miss Zoe Walcott, who is an at-large candidate under the Virgin Islands Party umbrella. Miss Walcott, thank you for your time and welcome to our platform.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, Ron. It is my
You're most
pleasure.
welcome. Journey to Elections 2023.
Yes.
For the persons that do not know who Zoe is, who are you?
A mother, very passionate, entrepreneur, very people-focused, and I am a Miss Fix-It. I'm the one that you call when you want to get things done. I'm the one that you call when you need problems solved.
Okay. Just for the record, we do our research whenever we're interviewing a candidate. Talk to a little bit about the people on the constituents, okay?
Right.
And these are not our sentiments,
Yes.
but in speaking to persons, in addition to what you just mentioned about Miss Fix-It, they have said she's a beauty queen. What can she do? Some say she parties too much, for putting it nicely. What in regards to that, when you hear the sentiments that you are a beauty queen and perhaps you seem to have too much of a social life, what are your thoughts on those types of sentiments?
Well, you know, the reality is people are entitled to their own opinions. That's first things first. And what you will have is where there is a displacement. When people feel a certain way about themselves or have their own insecurities, most times we like to channel that outward. So my question would be, when last have I been socializing? Because the reality is my hours don't even allow it at this particular time. By the time I get into Pear Park, I leave, I go to my businesses. My social life is next to nil. So if they're speaking on outdated information, these are already people that are not looking with an open mind as to what my contributions have been in the past. Because am I the sum total of a beauty queen? Am I the sum total of somebody that they consider likes to socialize? No, I've done a lot for this country. I've contributed in politics, outside of politics, in every facet of life. And I tend to bring the people along with me. I've done that at every job that I've been in. I've done that at every opportunity given. When I was the PTA president at Leonardo Delville Primary School, I always look out for the most vulnerable, be it young or old. Does that take away my ability to be able to do good, to provide opportunities for young people that are interested in business opportunities for themselves? I did the youthpreneur, I did the kidpreneur. That gave real tangible opportunity for persons that were interested in seeing whether or not their business had merit. And we saw the results from that. And I continue to do good. I continue to, wherever I go, shine a light. So the sum total of Zoe is, yes, she was a beauty queen, but because she was a beauty queen, she did that because of how she was raised. Because you would always hear those semantics earlier during when there would be pageants. What would be the one thing that you would like to see? And then there'd always be that response, world peace. Now, a lot of that still translates in terms of how we deal with people. I'm the person, in fact, there were 3 of us that my mother would have get up early in the morning and give the garbage man water or some fruit on the road. So who I am goes deeper than persons having issues contending with who they are. And I've come well far in this game to understand that it's not even about me. It's them having a hard time dealing with themselves.
Thank you. You mentioned just now about coming a long time
Yes.
in this game. You're no stranger to politics.
No.
You've contested the general elections. My record, this would be the third time. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
One in the 5th district and another one as an at-large candidate. It's no secret that a lot has transpired within the territory in the last few months as well as the last few years, and we're going to get to that. But why now? You're busy assisting and
Exactly.
and doing what some would call great work at the Tola Pear Park. You also have your VI Med Spa thriving business.
Yes.
Why would you add on top of that and seek office again?
You know, somebody asked me that a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, why would you leave Pear Park to make less money in public office? First thing, I'm not a martyr, so I'm not sitting here and pretending to be one. But the reality is there were other greater opportunities that existed outside of Pear Park to go back into the financial services sector that pays more money. But I've always been people focused.
Okay.
And for me, what we have been able to achieve, because it wasn't even just myself, it's when you have a vision and then you can encourage other people to have that vision. And I can see the end results on the boardwalk, on people that are taking up different spaces in the Pear Park and seeing how their businesses are flourishing. Even in terms of pushing the green renewable energy and turning Pear Park into the first green facility of its kind within the region. So, and this to my point, what I said earlier, wherever I go, my intention is always to shine a light, to be that change within any structure or organization. So diving right back into what you asked me, why not?
Okay.
With all that I've done, all that I continue to do, I'm authentic, I'm real. Why wouldn't I? And the persons have asked. They've asked. I said no, honestly. In the beginning, I did say no. Because as you rightfully said, I think these are the questions persons should ask themselves when they're running. Are you prepared? For some of the same reasons you asked earlier. One thing, we're cruel. We're very cruel in this territory and too easily. Very disassociative. That's the term that I choose to use. Where we're very careless with what we say. And I don't mean holding people accountable. That's something totally different. But there seems to be a very aggressive, non-caring way in the way we have turned as a society. So am I going to allow that to stop me from being able to champion the causes of persons that have been calling me throughout the years? They didn't just start calling me. When I came up with the moniker Call Zoe, it's because people that came to me from 11 years ago and reminded me of what I was able to do for them. That's how I came up. The people actually created that moniker. It wasn't me.
Okay.
So I'm just answering the call.
In answering the call, you mentioned the level of destructiveness in a nutshell that our society has come to. I want to look at that politically.
Yes.
We're on the campaign trail now, and on all fronts.
Yes.
No political party, no individual is necessarily exempt from this.
Right.
The politics is nasty. The mudslinging is nasty. On the campaign trail and in all that, as it pertains to your values, what are your thoughts to not only that type of behavior, both on your party and on the front
across the board,
all of it?
Okay, so for me, there's a difference when I can, and we do this on the job, regular assessments. So if you assess my party and you found that we've been wanting in certain areas, that's a difference than getting into areas that have really getting personal about their personal life, their personal choices, unless it factors in to creating issues for the workplace. For me, that's where I draw a line. So if we're talking about issues that, for instance, when the National Democratic Party was in, and we're poking holes in certain things that they're saying, or when PVI says that they're championing based on integrity, and then you're poking holes based on what they have done during their tenure, that's a difference than when you're making it personal.
Okay.
And for me, that's where I draw the line.
All right. As it pertains to the last 4 years and what we would observe as your steadfast support for the Virgin Islands Party.
Was it steadfast?
Well, you've served in different capacities,
Right.
and you have now, prior to announcing your candidacy, you
Right.
were the
Vice
vice president, and particularly in a time where we've only seen two women
Right.
in the history making of the party. But many persons would ask, well, why Zoe? Why are you still sticking with the VIP? Why has the VIP remained your choice for not only political advancement or political affiliation, but the territory's choice to take them into another 4 years? Stay tuned for more Just for the Record right after this.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. As it pertains to the last 4 years and what we would observe as your steadfast support for the Virgin Islands Party.
Was it steadfast?
Well, you've served in different capacities,
Right.
and you have now, prior to announcing your candidacy, you
Right.
were the
Vice
vice president, and particularly in a time where we've only seen two women
Right.
in the history making of the party. But many persons would ask, well, why Zoe? Why are you still sticking with the VIP? Why has the VIP remained your choice for not only political advancement or political affiliation, but the territory's choice to take them into another 4 years?
It goes back to what I said earlier. A party that understands grassroots, on the ground. How do we help our most vulnerable, be they young or old? And that's really at the core of who the party is. Now, if there is a departure or if I have issues, which I have, and I've been very vocal internally with my concerns, and in fact, I've stepped away from the party for a bit. So that's why when you said steadfast, the reality is they know that Zoe Mote easy. And it's one of the reasons why people, to be honest, was advocating for me to run. But outside of that, I see a team that when they were thrown into the deep end, you know, the easiest thing to do is pull everybody down with you when you're drowning. And I have seen a leader. I mean, Natalia really rose, the Premier Honorable Natalia really, to me, rose to that challenge in terms of holding things steadfast. And the reason why I reference that is there were a couple things that I have said to him at the time when he assumed the position that has grounded me in feeling that he is somebody that I could see leading me. Earlier, being honest, concerns.
Okay.
Do I share those concerns now? No.
Okay.
And that's just being as upfront as I could possibly be, because he's somebody that does take the constructive criticism and tries to do better. And in fact, with a 5-woman cast, we've been able to a large extent because our voices are not small by any means. I'm not just the vocal one in the bunch.
Okay.
The reality is there are a number of persons there that understood at the crux, at the core, who the Virgin Islands Party was grounded on, what the foundation of the party is. And we were, for lack of a better word, I don't want to use that in case my mother watches this later, but we were very lasered
Okay.
in ensuring that we want to see certain changes happening to the structure of this party. We want to make sure that there's a reinforcement of just equal distribution of concerns and information and how that is being fed and fueled and what that information turns over to be utilized for the greater good. And that's where Shari initially and myself came in, from president to vice president. Now I'm able to do that as a candidate. And in fact, I've been replaced by another competent woman, Delia Jean-Baptiste.
Okay.
So we're steadfast in ensuring that what's just, what's equitable, and what's right becomes the cornerstone of the Virgin Islands Party.
A lot of what you just mentioned involves women.
Yes.
This election, our record shows that there's some 16 women contesting the general election.
Yes.
You make up, of course, that 16. Let's speak to the timing. Let's speak to the importance and the fact that many persons have called for women leadership. They've saying that they've prophesied it. They see it coming. What are your thoughts on the fact that we have some 16 women and the territory seems poised in many cases to receive as many of those as they possibly can?
You know, the reality is what separates us from animals is the fact that we can still hope. And for a number of people, they want to see that change. Most times, and for me, it's not just any woman. So I hear that a lot, but I'm interested in somebody who's prepared to send the elevator down.
Okay.
I'm interested in somebody whose competencies lend itself to seeing real change, being a maverick, and sometimes going against the grain when it's required in order to bring about that change. But somebody that also understands that they have to have a hand that will know how to massage a situation to still get what they need without upending tables when unnecessary. So whichever woman, and I'm happy that we're sort of leveling the playing field, meaning a man will never really truly understand what it is to be a woman or be in a woman's shoe.
Correct.
And the dynamics that a woman brings is also that nurturing capacity and capability. But they've also, most times, the woman is the one in the household that has ruled with a firm hand. I sure was that one. So we're hoping that a balance is brought that allows for the territory to be represented in a real and tangible and authentic way that secures our future in a very sustainable manner.
Understood. In considering yourself one to speak up on social ills, you're not one to hold your tongue.
No.
Looking at our territory right now, what bothers you? What keeps you up at night? What are some of your concerns as you look across and interact with the people?
You know, the problem is, and sometimes I don't use all the correct terms, but I'm very authentic in expressing myself. And sometimes I do feel slightly bipolar in that you ask if there's one thing. As a parent, as a mother, it's a multiplicity of things. True. Because there's a domino effect. So it's still are vulnerable. It's the fact that since the hurricanes and even prior to the hurricanes, we have people that are living in houses that are not livable. We have people that are still going hungry. We have a school system where, for lack of, we don't have a proper support system in place as well. So it's almost a bit fractured because there's so much that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to be looked at. But if we start at the core, our people, for me, when they talk about how do we judge when a country's doing good, it's not the GDP. We shouldn't use a benchmark like GDP. It's how are your people faring? How are your people doing? That's, to me, at the crux of it. Because if they're good, it means everything else is in balance. And so going back to your question, what keeps me up at night? That we have a number of broken systemic issues, some of which could be easily addressed, but some which will require some mavericks to come into the forefront and do that which is not comfortable.
Okay. In the final analysis, on election day,
Yes.
April 24th, the people of the territory will go to the polls.
Yes.
Why should they elect Zoe Walcott to the next House of Assembly?
They should elect Zoe Walcott because I have been consistent whenever needed, and they've called on me. I've answered the call. I continue to work outside in the best interest of the people, even it didn't serve my interest. And I am someone that will push against. I question authority, I think, for myself. So it's one of the conversations I've even had internally with my own party. I need us to get to a point where we're mature enough that if I get up in the House of Assembly and I disagree with a position that my party has, I'm not against the party. I'm against that particular legislation that's being brought or a particular topic. So that's why you should vote for Zoe, because I'm prepared to be a 4-year representative. I'm prepared to do what's necessary.
All right. I'm so happy that you mentioned that last part about not always agreeing.
Yes.
Is there a piece of legislation or bill that was passed or brought to the House of Assembly within the last 4 years that you did not necessarily agree with?
It was a police.
Okay.
Yes, and I reached out to the premier. And subsequently, I'm sure based on other persons also issuing concerns, it was withdrawn.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you some lighter questions.
Oh, those were the heavy ones.
Yeah. You have the option, of course, of going in detail, or you could just simply say yes or no. If elected, whether or not you would support the legalization of these particular issues. The legalization or decriminalization of marijuana. Stay tuned for more Just for the Record right after this.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Today, I am doing coral treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today, we are doing shark research. So today, we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. You have the option, of course, of going in detail, or you could just simply say yes or no. If elected, whether or not you would support the legalization of these particular issues. The legalization or decriminalization of marijuana.
Yes, in fact, I was touting that from the first time I ran for office. Having a child that is epileptic and understanding the benefits that medical marijuana brings, considering the type of medicine that he's on now. And when I speak to him, I'm speaking to a subset of persons as well that do have some significant issues that medical marijuana helps with and aids with. So I do have skin in this game, Ron.
Okay.
And I say yes, yes, and yes.
All right. The legalization or as some would call it, same-sex marriage or same-sex unions.
So, for me personally, and I did get a number of calls this morning, right? For me, I am at this stage, I am not for the legalization of same-sex marriage. I don't have a hard no on it. What I'm interested in is to get some feedback from the general public as to what their opinions are and why they would be for or against.
Okay. And in regards to the legalization of parimutuel betting?
Why it ain't here already becomes my question. And this is what I'm talking about. When we talk about economic engines, and we can look at so many different areas that continue to remain untapped. And it's not like we don't already have the product. We have the product. It's about creating those sustainable engines that allow for those products to continue. So they're doing it. We need to regulate it and utilize those funds in areas to fix our infrastructure, our roads.
Okay. And last but not least, the legalization of abortion.
Well, I am for a woman's right to choose. And I'm for the opportunity allowing itself for her to do that in a safe manner. In the past, we've heard horror stories, and we are aware of horror stories where because persons felt they didn't have the mechanisms or the opportunity here, they used other mediums, which obviously put their lives at risk. And then persons getting on a boat. I mean, we need to get to the point and get to the place where we're having these level of discussions in a tangible, meaningful way, and even starting in primary school. And I need for society, and this is Zoe, and this is a person that said no to same-sex marriage initially, but I'm open to discussion. We need to ensure that we continue to keep those mediums of communication open that allows for this sort of dialogue to happen, because for me, that should have happened years ago. And I can't imagine why we're still in the Stone Age, that women aren't giving that opportunity here.
Okay.
Because we travel for it.
Understood. What is Zoe's favorite Virgin Islands cuisine?
I'm a foodie. Boy, oxtail not there, but look, everybody gasping, right? I would say fungi and fish.
Okay.
I would say I like me a good fried hard nose.
We have something in common. That's
Yes,
my favorite fish.
I like me a good my fungi, because I do have a little Bajan. We like cuckoo, so we like a little more slime in our fungi. So it's fungi and fish.
Do you have a favorite sister island?
Ooh. Now you're trying to get me shot. I think they're so individualistic and they bring so much to the table, but I'm not going to politic this. It would be Virgin Gorda. To be honest, if I could have relocated to Virgin Gorda at one time, I would have. My children actually went to school there.
Okay.
And I love how much there's such a close-knit community. So some of the things that I feel like we're missing in other areas, you really get that when they're a little more, they're not so fractured.
Understood.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Virgin Islands rum or drink?
Okay. Jabari makes an awesome, and it's not, I don't know that it's Virgin Islands, so the panty dropper for me will have to be off the table right now.
Off the table, okay.
Off the table. But for me, Jabari makes me, and I know Henny, but Henny's almost a VIG.
I mean, we drink it enough, so perhaps it should be considered a local.
A Hennessy Sunset.
Okay.
Try it.
I don't think I will. That is one thing I will not be doing. All right? But the panty dropper is a good one.
Yes.
I have enjoyed that myself. I have one more.
Yes.
If you could take someone from VIESD, Erin, that simply means that they're no longer with us.
Yes.
To lunch or dinner, it could be personal, professional, or political. Who would that person be and why?
Okay, that would be my dad. I lost my dad when I was 4 years old. And it took me probably at the age of 41 to realize I had daddy issues.
Okay.
So when I talk about, this island needs to heal, sometimes you don't realize the baggage you carry until you become a little more self-aware. So questions I would have, like, I did what every kid did. I immortalized him. I told myself that he's off on a secret mission. And to be honest, I know it sounds laughable, but, I did that for a long time because I really had issues coping, not having him. But I have had some excellent male models, role models that have really stepped up, but there's still nothing like not having that someone that you can really just call yours. And for me, that's why I guess, family is such a big thing, because it could slip away just like that. And I didn't have, 4 years old. And I still remember him. I still remember his funeral. He was buried at sea.
Okay.
Very traumatic for me.
Understood.
So.
Well,
sorry.
when you think about that, and some might ask, and it's a weird space, but with all that you've accomplished, and the beauty of having the real male role models who have stepped in, what do you think your dad would be most proud of if he were here today, as it pertains to his daughter Zoe?
I think he would kind of echo my mother. My mother loves the fact that I have grown to the point that I do not allow that which would bury me to keep me sunk. I've been through a lot. Anybody that's been through a divorce, that literally broke me. And having lost a father, obviously for me it was trying to make sure that those components were not fragmented.
And history didn't repeat itself.
And history, in a different way, didn't repeat itself. So I think my father would be proud of the fact that I continue to just try to make a better version of myself every day.
Okay. I thank you so much for this conversation.
Yes.
And most importantly, I'd like to thank you for exercising your democratic right in seeking higher office to the next House of Assembly.
Well, I thank you so much and to it for media for inviting me to this platform. And Ron, you're one of my favorites.
I appreciate the sentiments. Viewers, that is all the time we have. You've been watching Just for the Record, Journey to Elections 2023. Believe it or not, it's finally here, and we are extremely thankful to be bringing you the candidates who are contesting the upcoming general elections. Today we were joined by Ms. Zoe Walcott, an at-large candidate under the Virgin Islands Party umbrella. Thank you so much.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down pat.
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps...
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Murrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites.
It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.